Thank you, Heavenly Father, for bringing us again here as a corporate body. We pray that whatever we are going to do today is successful for you in Jesus' name. We are also calling you, Heavenly Father, to direct our affairs. We pray for the motivator. Whatever is going to speak, Heavenly Father, will help us in Jesus' name. We thank you for our friends who are not here. And those that are on the way, we pray that they'll get there safely. As this meeting progresses, Heavenly Father, be at the head of everything. Let successful Lord in Jesus' name. To this, Heavenly Father, and many other things. Thank you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Okay, speaker today will be Mr. DAPO. This is the first time being here. So let's put on to
Thank you. God bless you. Please, okay, maybe you use your phone. Can you help me with some pictures or some short videos? Okay. Okay.
Just to change it.
Okay. So this opens the phone. I want you to go to sign. Okay. Just this. Just M.
Where's the picture?
Sorry?
No, no, start right now.
This is camera on the home screen. It's not moving. I want it to move back.
Arrow. No. Arrow. Yes.
It's going forward. Oh.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Scattered. It's modeled up. All right. Good morning, sirs and mas. Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It's such a pleasure to be here. So I'm here for us to learn from one another. All right. I'm not coming here on a come and train or teach. I've come to share knowledge, and I'm looking forward to gaining some body of knowledge from you as well. So we want to talk about sales. Sales encompasses a whole lot, but we'll just take a part of it today. Okay. People have left sales, or they thought or they think that sales is for those who don't have any other thing to do. Like, you don't have anything to do, just go, they sell. All right. But sales is scientific. Sales is a real deal. Without salespeople, no organization prospers. Because if you produce and there are no people to sell, then all the produce, whatever you produce, will be in the store, in the warehouse. We have property all over Nigeria, and there is nobody to convert them to cash, then it becomes a waste. So we are very important. That's the note I want to start with. Let us all have the understanding that we are all important in the sales process as salespeople. So today we'll look at the role of the sales communication. There's a certain way we are expected to communicate when we want to close a deal, when we want to make sales. There is a customer psychology, even though there is this kind of psychology of an average customer. We need to have that understanding. There is a way we should talk to people whose pocket we want to get our hands into. All right. So all these things are scientific. There are things that an average person may not just know. He will just do anyhow. But with the knowledge we are going to garner here today, we should be able to do things differently for the purpose of having and making a result. That's my goal. So that whatever we learn today, we go and practicalize it, and we want it to improve our productivity. As you are improving the bottom line of the organization, you're also improving your own personal bottom line too. So these things will help us. We're going to look at the role of sales communication. What does it entail? How does it affect us? We're going to look at some strategies. One of them is asking questions, active listening, the 3 steps to active listening process I was going to write. Strategy 3, providing a template. What does that mean? As we progress, we are going to get to know adjusting market. What does it mean to adjust your marketing? Then we are going to get to know that sales itself is a process. It is not an activity. Sales is a process. It is not an activity. It's a combination of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or more things or more activities that now results into sales. So the point where that person exchanges money for the value you are producing or providing is not sales. That is the exchange of value. There are things that will have happened along the line before we got to that point. So what we want to encourage ourselves about today is how to take people through that process and get to the point where they get to exchange their money for the value we want to present. We are not the only ones in the market. All right? So there are options, there are alternatives, but we want to spike out of the lot by the things we want to do different. These people will say, okay, this is where I want to commit my money. All right? So we are going to look at that process, okay? Sales as a process. Then we are going to round up with some key takeaway points. All right? I believe we are going to be good. So my style is not such that after the class we now say questions. As we are progressing, if you feel the urge to ask any question, just stop me. Ask your questions. We'll talk about it and we'll progress. This is a very mature setting, so it's not about class. I want to just feel free to pause me at any point and we'll progress from there. I won't listen to, okay, this is a short profile that might be taking some of our time. Of some things I have done that I still do and those that are in progress. All right. Elements of sales communication. What are the elements of sales communication? You know, this session we have branded as strategic sales communication. So what are the elements? What makes for a sales communication? Every one of us will communicate through one medium or the other. Even animals communicate. Okay? So to make sales, we also need to communicate, but we have our language. We have our ways. All right? So that's what we intend to look at when we talk about your personal communication skills. And for me to put skills behind the name communication, it means it can be learned. All right? So some people have hairdressing skills, some have learned it, some picked it along the line. But we are talking about communication skills here, and we are saying it can be learned. All right? Communication skills can be learned. You know what? Before now, most of us have been talking, but we have not been communicating. Most of us have been talking, but we have not been communicating. We have not been communicating the language of sales. So it is possible for me to expend 1 hour with a prospect and we talk. And at the end, I wouldn't have talked about sales. Even though I think I'm talking about sales. I've not connected with the person. We'll get to a whole lot of others as we progress. So what's your personal communication skills? How do you communicate? There's a way to communicate effectively. There's a way I will connect with you when we want to communicate. All right? If I'm disturbed, I may not be able to get your communication effectively. All right? So, permit me to digress. Even in homes, as couple, you see a wife or your husband, an husband telling the spouse that communicating. Sometimes we say things like that. You are not communicating. And the man or the woman will feel like, I don't they talk since now. I've been talking. So the best we do is to talk, but not to communicate. There are ingredients to effective communication. If there are distractions around and about me, you cannot communicate with me effectively. Neither can I communicate with you effectively. And distractions are not just limited to noise. Noise is a distraction for sure, but the circumstance, situation around me. Okay, so you want to come and make a pitch to me. I'm in my office, and upon coming in, you had me perhaps lashing out at somebody. Why will you do that? You have done that. And you would knock and say, sir, there's this property I have come to. It won't fly. It won't fly. Because the environment is not conducive for a communication, for a sales communication for that matter. So we need to understand our skills. We need to look at our environment. We need to be able to look at cues. There are things you call communication cues, non-verbal cues, things that I'm saying but I'm not verbalizing. I'm not saying them out, but I am saying them. We should have that. We should come to that point where we are able to detect such things. I give you a practical example. So I say go back to husband and wife. So the wife gets in and say, Oni, you know what? I need to go to the kitchen now to make dinner. Junior has not done his assignment. In fact, when I got to the kitchen, I discovered that there are too many dirty plates there. What are we even going to eat tonight? So it sounds like she's complaining. But what is she saying? Help! I need your help. But she didn't say it. But she's saying it. So for your clients too, you should get to that point where you are able to look at them and hear what they are saying, but they are not verbalizing. Because 70% of our communication is body language. It's body language. All right? It's body language, gesticulations, and all that. So you want to speak to me now. Let's assume we met on the road or somewhere. I said, do you have 5 minutes? I want to share something with you. And I said, okay, shall we talk? And in the process of talking, I'm doing something like this. And you are saying, are you following? You're only listening to what he's saying. You are not reading his body language. His body language is saying, your time is over. His body language is saying, I am exhausted. I've had enough. Okay? And not until we begin to appreciate and respect the communication from our clients, we might not be able to communicate well with them. So in such instances, you just feel like, okay, and you keep talking. Everything you are saying after that time is just like water on the back of a rock. Waste of time. It's just like, he's just trying to be polite. And if it is the one who is not really polite, he will just tell you off. Okay? But I want to see some things and be able to adjust even before. He will respect you more. All right? And so these are things that makes up for personal communication skills. How do you connect? Do you speak clearly and effectively? Now, when I'm talking about speaking clearly, it might not totally be, I may not totally be referring to how audible you are. But if I say there's a land in where do we have properties? Asaba. There's a land in Asaba, and if you go to Enugu, by the roundabouts, there's another things. I'm not clear. Do you understand that? I'm not clear. Is my communication clear? Like we said, is it clear? Is it effective? I'm calling your attention to the property in Enugu, and I'm telling you where it is located. I'm telling you other facts and information about it. There's always room to talk about the one in Asaba, but there's a timing for it. As we progress, we will understand all these things better. But as of now, this is what I want to communicate effectively to you. All right? So some of us, we have left the realm of talking. I said some of us talk, but we don't communicate. Some of us have left the realm of talking, and we are not communicating. But even now that we are communicating, we are not communicating effectively.
Roger,
Yes, ma'am.
what happened is have a prospect that you introduce yourself to, he paid you attention, and he heard you, and he booked an appointment for another day. Then you getting there another day, he totally forgot everything you said. You understand? Now start afresh again.
What you forget, since he has forgotten your appointment and you haven't come yourself. You forgot that you haven't come.
Oh,
He entirely forgot everything we told, and this I forgot that you said this man is 8 million. I
Yeah.
thought you were you started afresh again. In a situation like that, how do you handle?
you know, some people can be very busy. It's not out of they're not just trying to play, but they are just really busy. So when I'm booking that appointment, and I have known, we talked about body language. I've looked at the kind of person he is, as you looked, if it's people you call HNI, high net worth individual, if it is those kind of people, you will help to manage him, even his own. Say, sir, will you mind if your personal assistant can help you put these things on record as a reminder? If it's not somebody that has that kind of luxury of personal assistant, sir, do you mind putting it on the reminder of your phone? It's a polite suggestion. If all of this fails and you get there, at least you are lucky he didn't say they should push you out. You are still back there, only that he has forgotten. Then we'll start all over. We start all over again. Because what we want is to close that deal with him. In fact, you are coming back, you are now saying, but sir, that's not fair enough, sir. You are the one who gave me this number. You are me this time, and that's you have shot yourself in the leg. Oh, even though the thing they pay you, sir, I understand you. I know you're a very busy man. I know things like this happen with very busy people. If you don't mind, can we do something different this time around? Can we put it on your reminder, or you want to call your PA to give us? I don't mind. Give me another app. You just try to be polite because you are trying to win him to close a deal. All right. So you might not be able to help that, but to forestall it from happening, we could take that step where we advise them ahead of time. Oh, can we do this? Can we do this? Or if you are not doing either of the two, once you have secured the appointment, you can say, sir, I hope you don't mind if I give you a reminder 24 hours before. Tuesday is the appointment. I hope you don't mind if I give you a reminder by 5 p.m. on Monday. I said, okay, that's all right. Okay, so those are the things that can help us out in such situations. Yes, ma'am. Let me see. I saw a hand first. Okay, they will work on it.
Let me also. Now you went out there and you meet somebody.
Yes, sir.
And you look at the environment and you think this person is capable of buying property, and you go ahead and you approach him, you talk about what you have come for, and you explain effectively, according to you, about the land you have in Asaba.
Yeah.
And the man says, yeah, I like this thing, or this thing is very good. I think I'll consider it, but go and come back next week.
Okay.
Now, by that next week, when you get there, you discover that the man is showing a lot of indifference. See now, he's not attending to you anymore. Now, does that have to do with talk, or you didn't really communicate with the person effectively in your first meeting?
Okay, so in this instance, I want to absolve you of any blame. I want to believe that you communicated effectively and well enough to the person. he has the facts, but I want to look at that person. You know, manner of thinking, we have different orientations, different ways of behaving. But talking about sales now, there's a prospect analysis. I have analyzed this prospect, like you said, and I think is somebody who can buy property. There's another flip side to it. Is it the person, even though during your analysis you have analyzed rightly that he looks like someone who can, but then is this somebody who takes the buying decision? Is it the one who takes the buying decision? So, as a woman, I may look like it, I may even be interested, but by the time I got to Oga at home, the story changed. I may be the man, I look interested, by the time I got to Madam at home, the story changed slightly. Because the person you're talking with, even though it looks like it, but it doesn't have the buying decision. Okay? There's a difference between the customer or the consumer and the buyer. I can buy and not be the consumer. Okay? So the consumer might be the one who takes the buying decision. And I give you a very quick example. I was at the filling station and someone was marketing property and gave me a flyer and all that, and went to the vehicle in front of me, gave to somebody who by his analysis also looks like somebody who could buy. In fact, his car could swallow my own. That's how big the car was. So he looked every of the parts, and it took so much time, you know, talking to that, and he talked so much, you know, relating with the guy, until when the guy now took it. And the guy was, now, something else in sales is that we should be able to quickly identify who is a prospect and who is a suspect. This guy listened so much, gave him attention, showed all the willingness, and by the time he was receiving, he said, don't worry, when Oga comes back, I will give it to him. So apparently he was the driver. Okay, he didn't have that capacity for the kind of things he was. But he has successfully wasted the time of that man because there was a faulty analysis that made a suspect look like a prospect. So we should be conscious of time wasters as well. If I'm going out on a day on prospecting duties, I want to say today I'm going to spend 5 hours prospecting, and I have appointed here and there 30 minutes there. This is where I'm going and that. I don't want somebody wasting that time. All right, all in the name of being prospects. All right. So straight back to your question, some things might have changed beyond that. So you want to go back to the point of connection. When did he lash on that idea? Body language, communication. Let me tell you this. I know somebody who studied Yoruba language in university, and he told me that when they were teaching them about Ifa, now Ifa is the local Yoruba oracle. You know, they will be doing incantation and will be saying some things. For some of us who watch home video and all that, you are doing some things, you are saying some things, and it gets to that point, and he just tells the woman, the problem is childbearing. And the woman will say, wow, exactly. Meanwhile, this Yoruba graduate told me that those things they are saying, they'll say to the left, to the right, to the this, and he's studying you where you click in. And he knows that that's the issue. Do you understand what I'm saying? So by the time I'm saying because he was unable to go to school because his parents died, there was no and unfortunately I was and now no children, and the woman goes, He knows that's the point. So I want to go back to my communication, earlier communication, and say, where did this man connect? At what point did he connect? Then I want to bring him back to that point. So when I was telling him about Asaba, it was no big deal. Well, I love Asaba, but I'm not really sure I'm interested in property in Asaba. And by the time you ask, okay, I'm jumping ahead now. Questions. We use questions a lot. By the time you are now asking, But I thought you said your parents are in Asaba, or are they there or something, or you have a sibling in Asaba? And he said yes. Don't you think such a place can be good for them? When they have it, they will manage it. They can even be doing something on it for now. And he goes, that strikes a chord in him. So I want to take him back to that point. All right. So when next I'm meeting, I'm asking about those siblings. I'm asking about, oh, the person you said could do something on the land. I'm not talking about the land. I'm not talking about the property. One thing about sales is that you show genuine interest in the prospect. And that's one mistake we make. So when you see me, immediately you want to tell me about, hey, there's a property here, there's a da. You have not shown interest in me. Nobody wants to be sold, but we rather want to be sold to. So most salespeople, they just lead and say, I sold him. No person wants to be sold. Just consider yourself. Is that the kind of feeling you want? No, you want an experience. Okay, so as a salesperson, I should be able to create the picture of that experience in your mind. What we are selling is not something we can take about, but you want people to have an experience ahead of time. And I tell you what, if you want to learn about sales, the best is on all the streets. Just go and see wonderful young guys, especially of the Eastern extraction. See what they do. Or sometimes I look at them, I see what they do. I said, some of these guys might not have been to the four walls of the university or any institute, but they have that sense. If you are in traffic now, a young guy wants to sell this to you, he will show you. I'll see it now. I'll see it and say, how much is this? You are talking and he says, oh God, touch him now, see it. Experience. He wants you to experience it. And you can even say, put him now, put him, see as he stands now. He wants you to experience it. And because you are experiencing it, psychologically, you are getting pre-programmed for ownership. So if I'm telling somebody about a property, I'm talking about, I mean, sometimes maybe by Christmas you will have to go home. Maybe something modest, you can just model there instead of spending on hotels, and people will be able to come and visit you and all that. I'm creating an experience in his mind. I'm creating an experience. So he's almost halfway or quarter way to having that experience. He's desirous of that experience. Okay, so that's the essence why they do those things. By the time I have touched it, by the time I have put it on my face and I look at myself in the mirror, I'm looking at this thing is desirable to own. But in our own case, because what we are marketing, what we are selling is not something we can move about, but we can create that experience in their heads. That was why I said it is a science. It is something you do deliberately, that you are conscious of, that, okay, now you yourself, you know in your heart that this is what I'm about to do to this person. This is what I'm doing. Okay? And you create that experience in their minds. All right? Describe things in a manner that is easily understood. I think we have talked about that. You are doing a description, let it be easily understood. So you said, hey, that's Asabaon. If you come by, if you buy 2, or if you buy 3, we will give you 1. But that 1 is behind another area where you have, you're just confusing me. And he said, even with that 1, there's still a discount. You just model too many things together that I'm confused. You're not winning me over. All right? So we should describe things in a manner that is easily understood. Yes.
Well, I met because a client during a storm that went for, and then this man wanted to pay immediately. Was asking of account number. Then I don't know what happened. The next thing, I don't know what happened. Before I could get the account number, the man now said, "I be no better. We will see the place so one by first." The thing was upset. Then I was like, this man, I don't understand. Until now, the man has not had time to go and spend the place. So imagine if you have paid that day. I don't know, I would have given him something cash. Maybe this promo they end this week, or they end this.
There's something in sales we call sense of loss. You create a sense of loss in people. And this is what I mean, that you create a sense in them that they are losing. If I give the example again, you know that all these my brothers, they do it. You get to Obina's shop, he will tell you, you better take it. This is not the last one. Now you 100 still there inside. This is the last one. It's creating that sense of loss in you, that if you're not taking this one, you're losing. So psychologically, I have that sense of loss. We are having a promo now, but by 2 months' time, by next week, by tomorrow, or by whatever time, with truthfulness though, by whatever time, it reverts back to the original price. So if I'm offering you 1 million now, and I'm saying by next week it goes back to 1.5 million, I'm telling you that if you don't act now, you're going to lose 500,000 naira. So I'm creating that sense of loss.
But does it really work? Because this.
All these things are psychology.
When I called it the next time, the man now said, "No worry, any amount will pay, I will pay."
Yeah, you put those people on. There's what you call a sales funnel. All right, you put such people on your warm list. There's a list. I believe you keep data of all these people, where you are with them. So you keep them on your warm list. That is people that you can warm up to easily. You know, there's a warm list, there is a cold list. For me now, I don't think I know before today, I didn't know anybody here. So if you wanted to sell to me now, I may be on your cold list because you're just trying to break. But with that person, we had an ongoing discussion. And then, you know, you should be able to follow up because it has a high prospect of being converted from a lead to a paying customer. Okay? So you keep throwing things before him. You try to imagine perhaps he wants something closer to him, or he wants something cheaper, or he wants a promo. When anything like that comes up, people like that are the first you are going to show that, hey, see what we are doing now. You know, you keep following them up. Most of us too, seated here, it's not easy to sell to us. How easy has it been to sell to us as individuals? So we should consider that too, and not relent. So we just keep knocking. All right. But you should be able to draw the line too when it's becoming a waste of time. All right? But just keep such people on your warm list. All right. So if I'm giving 80% of my energy to people on my cold list, I'm looking at I may not be visiting as often as I'm visiting the fresh. Perhaps I'm doing mail, perhaps I'm doing SMS, or I'm doing chats, or I'm sending things that I will still relate with him, but it's not taking the bulk of my time. All right, because for him, it's like an half-cooked meal. So all we need to do is to finish cooking the meal. Okay. We need to listen to others effectively. Listening is an act. Let me debunk this myth. Most people think that the best salespeople are those that can talk very well. It's a lie. Do you want me to repeat that? Most people think the best salespeople are the people who can talk a lot and talk it. When you talk too much, you will lose. It's not about talking too much. It's about listening so much. Okay? It's about listening so much. So let's assume you want to sell me a car, for example. You're selling cars. And in the course of our discussion, if you are listening very well, I've been saying, in fact, I just moved to my new house. The road is so bad. I have a salon car. I'm always going to the mechanic. It's so bad. What kind of car will you suggest for that person? But if you are not sensitive, you are not listening enough, all those tips that were coming out, you will just gloss over it. You won't remember because you are not listening. Okay? So most times what we do is to hear but not listen. And how do we hear? Sound waves that come into our auditory organs. You had it, but you are not listening to it. And that's why in classes, sometimes your teacher will say, what did I say last? The person had, but he was not listening. Okay? So the prospect is speaking, but you are not listening. Effective listening is such that you get the information being passed across to you as intended by the person passing it across, and you are able to interpret it as it's intended. Did you get that?
Yes.
That is effective listening. Effective listening is not you preparing what you want to reply him with. The times somebody is talking, even in our regular relationships, somebody is talking, inside your heart you are preparing, okay, how will I reply? How will I respond? And you are not listening to what he was saying.
So what else is to listen?
Listen first. That will determine what you say. In fact, there are a whole lot of lessons, benefits to listening. Effective listening. We are to listen more than we talk. All right. Somebody says, perhaps that's why we have 2 ears and 1 mouth. Hear more and say less. We need to listen to them. That's how we'll be able to know their needs. There's also what is called need analysis. Somebody is in Lagos. He's been saying all this property thing. How do you know that some people get tired?
Yes.
I have a friend in Lagos who has about 12 buildings already, big buildings. He said, oh boy, I'm tired of building. So that kind of person, you are now saying, oh, there is one property, somebody is tired already. But because I'm unable to analyze his need, despite that, the fact that he's tired of building in Lagos, he doesn't have in the village. He doesn't have in Asaba. I want to say, do you know Asaba is a bubbling time coming up now? Hospitality is high. You can use it for an hotel. But he's saying, I'm tired. But then he's saying, I want to invest. I want something that will bring in money, at least daily. Then I tell you, go there, build an hotel, you will get daily money. Because I'm able to listen to need. We should be able to listen effectively. All right. So one of the things that kills our listening skills is our predetermined responses that we are cooking up in our hearts. Rather than listening to that person, we're thinking about, oh, how do I respond to that? Okay, when you say what, just relax and listen. Okay. And all these skills can be learned. They can be learned. We can learn them. Okay. Observe non-verbal cues. I think I've talked about that before. Body languages, things that are being said that are not being said, and all that. You should be able to read and write interactively. When our communication is via writing, we should be able to write effectively and interactively. I mean, you're writing mail, you're writing messages or whatever, you should be clear in whatever you are communicating across. Also, your prospects' communication skills too is something you look out for at the same time. Okay, I'm having problem here because it looks like this thing is just going around. I don't even know where.
It's true. Go again.
Okay, this should be one.
Yeah, this is one.
Okay. Ask questions in your communication skills. Now, let's link the two together. I said we should listen more. If you are asking questions, who is talking more? The prospect. So you just ask leading questions. All right? Those are the questions that will help in your analysis of the person. Okay? It will help in your analysis of the person. You're asking questions like, looks like, so is this where you work? You're talking of a particular organization, perhaps you saw a logo on the table or something, and say, oh, so you are with this bank, or so you are with this organization. Oh, no, I'm not with them. Wow. I'm just working here. He tries to play little and say, I'm just a small boy, or I work here and there. That's not the whole of it. He might not be working in a big place where there is so much money, but have access to loan. But in the process of questioning, we discover that, oh, we have a cooperative, and in that cooperative, at least we can do a maximum of 10 million, we can do a maximum of 5 million. So what's my issue? So we need to learn how to ask questions. Okay, you're meeting a client. It's not just about, oh yeah, let's go to Asaba. All right, there is a property there. There is this or that. Okay, you ask questions that will make people think about themselves, and some of their answers will be suggestive of where you are taking them. Okay. Where are you from? Oh, I'm from that. Oh, so are you in Asaba? Oh, I go every Christmas. That's interesting. So when you go, where do you stay? Oh, my father has a place there, or my brother has a place there, or I use an hotel, or I don't. The thing is opening up. You are making him or her talk. So when you are now going to respond, you will be responding to meet the needs that you have identified around him. Okay? So we should ask questions, and as often as we can. So, I talked about the process. The sales is a process, it's a cycle. Now, the one you were doing with that man, you have taken him to almost the end of the process, but there is a breakdown. So we continue again. You continue from where you are. You run the process again till you have a complete process. So that's where we are talking about that we should talk less. The best of salesmen are not those who are talkatives. No. But even in our homes, when we see a little girl talking, I say, this one a marketer. No, she's not. A real salesperson does not talk too much. Facts, and I expect you to chew on the facts. Sometimes when I say too much, when it is a time for that person to ask me questions, I will be blank. I'll be blank. There is nothing. I don't talk everything now. Okay, so I want the person to talk, to do more of the talking, and when questions come, I keep my information and release them in bits. Okay, so if I get to you and say there's a land in Asaba, it goes for 2 million, and it is complete, so it's 60 by 120, very full, complete. You can pay in installments, but you need the initial deposit of 200,000, and once you are paid, we give you a receipt. And you give all the information. You've given all the information. So that's what some of us do. Yeah, so we should learn to correct that. You should be miserly with your information. Okay? While you're doing the questioning, you're making him talk. Then you have said so much. By the time you are responding now, you have told him where it is, you have told him how much, you have told him about the deposit, you have told him about the receipts. Discounts in my pockets. So, because for everything you say, okay, let me ask this. How many people here, you are going to buy, maybe except in supermarkets, you are going to buy and the person say 10,000 and just bring the 10,000 and say, take. Whatever you say, there will be an objection. Yes. In terms of all these things, they are a whole day training on handling objections. How do we handle objections? There will always be objection. So I don't want to put all my cards on the table. When objection comes, then there is no cards to play. So I want to keep some of them. So when it comes with that money is too much, then I bring the card of discounts. Then he has this feeling that my
and you have been on pursuing it for like 2, 3 months. He said he wants to do full payment for 2 plots. Then all of a sudden, he now sees on your subscription fund, you understand, 0 to 3 months, 6 to, he now says, okay, can I do this one? Maybe can we go for that? Or
So I will answer the question with a question.
okay.
Out of 0 and 50, which one do you prefer?
I prefer
0% or 50%? So the person who signs up to do installments, we are game. We are game. I know, I can imagine what comes to me might not be immediate and might not be bulk, but we are still game. What if, like the earlier one, it says later? You know, some people, their national anthem is later. We'll talk later. We'll get back to you. Those are the statements. You need to get to love. You need to get to love those things. Let me just give you a little about rejection. When, or is it rejection? What's the word now? That's not the word. Objection. About objections. When people object to your sales pitch, don't let it get at you. Don't let it get to you in person, as a person. They have not objected to you. They have objected to your proposal. So think about it that way. This person has not objected to me. He has only objected to my proposal. And for me to have been able to propose to him at this point, it means I have a foot in the door. It means I can always come back. Okay? So look at, what that's one of the ways to handle objections. So he was going to do a full payment before, and he now saw that and he was just talking about myself, about me. So what I'm getting, the feeling I'm getting is that this transaction is just all about you.
But when they say what I'm getting is you somehow you feel pity for them, and you say that they sound so much with that strategy just said.
If
when they tell me that what I get on this market, I'll just bring.
It means you are part of the people who grew up in America. For those of us who grew up in Nigeria, say all these things now. Is a story. It's all story. So rather, how better can I do it? Okay, and you say, how much is it? I say, God, wait now. I'm trying to gloss over price first. I want to disabuse your mind about price and show you value, show you benefits. He says, so that land in Asaba, is it true that it's not really even about how much we sell now, but do you know that Mr. B and C, who bought in 2019, by today, when they are selling, they sold at XYZ. I'm telling you about what you stand to gain. What you stand to gain. Do you know that XYZ location that people were calling bush then, by now, it is almost fully built up. And that is where people are going now. I'm showing you value. Okay? I'm showing you benefits. Okay? And that's why the man will say, oh, yeah, I'll go take it. I'll put it on your face now. And see as it look good on you now. See, even match your color. So I'm seeing value. kind of man I'm talking about, or he's still on the other page where he thinks, no, I need to have all these flamboyant things. What do I want to do with land? That place is bush and all that. You know, someone once told me when we were talking about property and bush, and he said he bought a property somewhere and someone said it was bush. So he said to the person, come and show me landed property in the city. If you can show me. Because the city was once a bush too. Okay, so we want to see the background, the thought process of this person's. And of course, we are encouraged to know that the sales process starts with a question. Okay. Active listening. I hope I have not even, talked about all this already. Yeah, this is very key. In listening, I hope you know that silence is a part of communication. So you need to embrace silence. Don't find silence as awkward. When a prospect is silent momentarily, it means he's processing what you just said. But because you have been trained to talk so much, when he's processing in his head, you are still bombarding him. And he doesn't have time to successfully process what you have earlier told him. Now you are presented fresh set of information before him, and there is what is called information overload. When your fuse, your electrical fuse, has an overload of power, what will it do? It will cut. It will cut that power off. So when you are overloading me with so much information more than I can process per time, I'll just switch off. I may still be there with you, but in my mind, I have switched off. I'm no longer following you because you just keep. So when you have passed a piece of information and the person is momentarily silent, mind my word, momentarily. I'm not saying when people just play dumb on you. When it's momentarily silent, it's not awkward. Give him that time. You too, be quiet. You are not telling him that, or that be like saying they think about him. No. You are busting your own bubbles. Just, he's quiet, you're quiet. So when you think the time is enough and sufficient enough, if it doesn't start the conversation, then I can ask. So, ask another question. So, what do you exactly? So, put another question across. You have allowed him to process the information, and now you want him to take action on the information he has been fed with. All right? So, silence is not awkward when you're making your pitch. It's part of communication. You should embrace it and use it for utmost benefit. So, embrace silence. Okay? It is nothing awkward. So let silence follow from your question, like I said earlier, and do not put words in the mouth of the person. All right? You don't put words in his mouth. Okay? Do you understand that? When you're talking to me, you're making a pitch, a proposal to me, you don't put words in my mouth. Let me say what is in my mind, because that is what will help me. If I'm putting words in your mouth, it means I'm telling you what I already know. But if I allow you to say what is in your mind, then I'm knowing what I yet do not know. Did you get the difference? For all the things I'm saying now, as I'm talking now, I'm talking about things I know.
Yeah.
But if only I can be quiet though my duty doesn't permit, if I can be quiet for the next 30 minutes and say, okay, talk. Things I will be hearing will be things that I don't know. Those are the benefits of listening. Okay? So you don't put words in their mouths as it were. Okay? So what role does sales communication play in the entire sales process? Sales is about communication. We talked about it before. If your clients can make a purchase without, then there will be no need for salespeople. If I can go make purchase without communication, then there will be no need for salespeople. Okay? I'm either communicated to by another person, word of mouth. I'm either communicated to by TV adverts, internet adverts. I saw something. There is a communication. All right? So if there is no need for sales communication, if I can go make my purchases without sales communication, then there's no need for us. So now that we know that purchases cannot be made without sales communication, then it means we are important. All right? So if we are important, it means we should do what we are expected to do rightly. Okay? We should do what we are expected to do rightly, which is to communicate effectively. See ourselves as professionals and communicate effectively, both to the customer and from the customer. We explained that earlier. You're communicating well to him, you're communicating well with him. You're also communicating well with the organization. If there's a break in that line, it won't be smooth. I don't have enough information, I'm not communicating well with the organization, then I won't be able to convey well to the client. Okay? I will not be able to convey well with the client. Excuse me. Your ability to communicate and your company's ability to communicate are both critical. Okay? How do I communicate with my clients? How does my company communicate with me as a salesperson? Then how does my company communicate with clients? All right? So all these are very, very important. So let's look at sales as a process. You're welcome, sir. If you take sales as a process, then it confers on you the rights to be called a professional. Remember where I started from. I said most times people see salespeople as those people who do not have any other thing to do. So go and be selling. No say. But sales is a professional venture. Being a salesperson is a professional responsibility. It is scientific. All right? This morning alone, we have done psychology. We have done all sorts. That's what sales entails. Okay? You have looked at how to read body languages, cues, so that you can key in at the right point in time. And let me just quickly go back to say this. When you're making a pitch, this might be part of how to close a deal. Closing a deal is a training on its own. Okay, but I just want to give a snippet. When you're making a pitch, you've been asking questions and that person has been responding. It still also goes back to talking too much. Okay? He's been responding. And he has gotten to the point where he's asking. So how much is it? Because you have so much penchant for talking, you go back to start saying the square meter of the land, talking about this. The person is already instigating a buying decision. The person is at WXY. He's almost getting to Z. You brought him back to ABC. Okay? Because you're not listening. All right? So you look for cues, buying cues. All right? Things that suggest that this person wants to buy. And when it gets to that point, remember we said sales is a process. Even if I am at process 2 and this person has promoted himself to process 6, I close the deal. I don't go through all those processes again because this person has shown enough desire. Buying intention. He has shown his buying intention. So at that point, I'm leading him into buying. One of the other errors we commit. I was on a weekend in church and one young lady came around. He was selling, I think, all this fluid for washing car, for dashboard, all stuff like that. And the lady started talking. He talked so much, I was listening. And he's finished talking. And so he can watch this, he can do this, he can polish this, he can do that. And I was patient to listen. I listened all through. And that was all. You know, when you know a little thing, you know some things. When you see people do it wrongly, you will be moved. And I called her. I said, come. You did not call me to action. You have only cast news. You have only talked about Asaba. You have talked about this. You have talked about size. You have talked about why. You have talked about the. But you have not called me to action. You have not told me what you desire of me to do. That is call to action. You need to tell me what you desire of me to do. So you can cast all the news. I'll just say, okay. I talked about that. Okay. That is, if there's a meeting point, a mutual agreement, then it means as a professional, I'm ready to, come to the point where you are without dragging or doing everything. Okay. It also shows that you're willing to put aside every specifics to ensure that you prospects that you and the prospect are communicating effectively. Okay. Remember, it's not just communication; it's effective communication. Okay, and effective communication means passing a message to you. You being able to understand the message I have passed with the intention with which I have passed it. It looks like it encompasses a lot. The whole. And I give you an example. Say, oh, I had to close a deal. Congratulations. Oh, I had to close the deal. Congratulations. I said the same thing, the same statement, but my body language is not the same. The tone of my voice is not the same, and it goes to show that they are not the same thing. One is a statement of, no, nobody I say we no greeter. The other is genuine. Okay? So you need to come to that point where you are able to communicate effectively. Now imagine a situation where what I mean is the second one, which is genuine, but I said it like the first one. I have communicated, but I didn't communicate effectively. All right? So we should come to that point where we are not just merely communicating, we are not just merely speaking, we are not just merely talking. We are communicating effectively. And I said effective communication entails that you hear and understand what I have said with the intention with which I have said it. All right? So we need to come to that point and also be able to communicate without hindrances. Okay? Am I sure we are in 5 already? This thing is disjointed.
I want to answer this.
Yes, ma'am. Please go ahead.
If you
Mic on 3.
if you like go to like Alaba or market, you meet somebody for the first time. How do you start talking to the person about you? And
All right. Those are people you call your cold markets. Okay? And there's what is called cold calling in marketing, sales and marketing. It means you going to someone you didn't know before. I know that most of us, the way we started must have been through, okay, starting with my relations with people I know, my neighbor, my pastor, friends, people. All those are warm connections. They are your warm list. But cold calling is somebody you don't know from anywhere. You just went to that person. So if you say it's a cold call, it means there is need to break the ice. Just look at it as if between you and that person, why I might be able to, because I have not known you that much, I may not be able to, hey, how are you doing? But somebody whom you have known for so long, you can do that. It means there's no barrier between you. But because I don't know you, there's something in between. When I got to this class, I didn't know anybody, so I had to temporarily thaw the ice. I said something and some people smiled. That is breaking the ice. So that in that way, you have opened up a little to me, to now begin to say practical terms. Let's look at practical terms. I've come to your shop. I've not known you. I don't know you from anywhere. You look at your environment and it will provide you the instrument with which you are going to break the ice. What do I mean? If I get to the shop, even if you are not a football fan, you get to the shop and you see him wearing Man U jersey. Immediately you don't become Man U fan. You break the ice, up Man U, he will relax. Okay? Even though I'm not a football fan, but I just love Man U jersey. So that you don't complicate yourself when he begins to mention name of footballers that you don't know. You know, something like that. You will smile. You see a decoration on the wall, you commend it. So where did you get this from? This must cost a fortune. Oh, it's not too expensive. Now, yeah, I bought it here. You have started talking like you've known forever. Or you get to the place and you see him or her perhaps quarreling with someone. And then you begin to, it's all some sales boys, some sales people, you know, perhaps they have some challenges before coming. Things like this happen. Relax. You are considering him first. Okay, all those are not there. Appreciate what he's wearing now.
Yeah.
The sound of appreciation in the ears of a man is golden.
Yes.
Oh, I love this bracelet. I love this necklace. I love this blouse. Well, I don't know if you are lying or you are telling the truth. God will help you. But if you are like me, you don't want to tell a lie. Look at something you like. I mean, you think is okay. Really? There's no, everybody, every one of us is a bundle of value. Maybe aside a madman, that you will not see something you can appreciate in that person. Okay, even if you are not liking it, but you can tell him it's nice. Oh, your eyeglasses frame, it looks nice. This man was expecting you to come and be talking about land. You are talking about his eyeglasses. It will break a smile. You know, you can follow with 1, 2, or 3 other. Remember, I told you, there's a difference between a prospect and a suspect. If you pour the ice with any of these things, there are some suspects. That will be the debate for the end of the day. Perhaps he's listening to news and what you used to break the ice was news. You will talk Buhari, APC, and PDP, and 2.5 hours, you have not been able to talk about your land. So you need to be conscious about this too. All right? The purpose I'm using this thing is to thaw the ice, is to break the barrier of friendship. So that, you know why? People take interest in you before they take interest in your products.
Yes.
Just cast your mind back. For those of you, and I'm not part of you, for those of you who hated mathematics in secondary school, you first ate that teacher.
Because you can't,
You hate mathematics. But thank God you are doing well today.
Yes.
So, because you hate him, you hate what he's come to give you. So, because the person doesn't like you, is not likely to like what you are bringing. So the first thing you need to do is within your limited capacity. You can't control and modulate the mind and the thinking of people. But within your capacity, you want to be sure that this person is friendly towards me. He likes me or she likes me. And that's why you need those. Okay? And how? Somebody said there will never be a second opportunity to make the first impression. Human psychology, if I ask you all here, one by one, in depth, and you will agree, the first moment you set your eyes on me, an opinion was found. Psychologically, it takes 30 seconds to form an opinion about the person. So that's why your first impression matters, because there is no second opportunity to make a first impression. That's why it's the first. And when people form an impression of you, you can't go into their mind. Even though there is a way of mechanicking it, machining it, but that's like a longer route, okay? Which is called perception management. You can begin to manage that perception. I cannot control your perception. So the moment you saw me, you have looked at, this guy would be arrogant. How can I control it? You have formed it. All right? Even though there is perception management, you can still manage it. I mean, there are examples around perception management. Don't let me go there. But rather than waiting to do corrections, can we get it right? Okay? Somebody said, not somebody, a Chinese proverb. It says, you don't have business opening a business if you cannot wear a smile. The smile is the easiest way to put value on your face. It's the easiest way to put value on your face. At least wear a smile. You want to come and get money from me, as it were, and you are still not laughing, you are still not smiling. Now, I'm not talking about laughing sheepishly, but someone said to be a friend, to seek a friend, be a friend. When you are trying to seek people to be friendly with you, you yourself be friendly. You are expecting that person to be friendly, then you be friendly. Greet with a warm smile, say something nice, and then don't be carried away with whatever you are using to break the ice, and at the end of the day, you can't talk about the name. You just look at time and say, chai. All you have been talking about is every other thing aside what you have come for. So that person will have successfully wasted your time. Okay? I hope that answers your question.
Yes.
And I believe it has benefited all of us too.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry, I just keep scouting for my slides because we had a challenge uploading it here. So, well, I can just keep talking and see. Okay, this should be. I just marketing. This is just to say we are ready to move to the dynamics of the market. Okay, we are ready to move to the changes in the market. So, as salespeople, you are not just salespeople. You should also, if you were not before, I'm advising that you should also be research officers for the company. When you go out there, you should be able to bring information that will help the company in designing products. So you have discovered that several people that you met, they will say, I would rather want to go, at least let me do half of the deposit so that I'm free. Then I will now split the remaining. Meanwhile, what we have already is saying do 10% or do 20%. But people are saying, no, I would rather just want to do 50 so that I'm relaxed. Then I will now spread the remaining. And you are getting this feedback repeatedly. If you see yourself as a research officer for the organization, you should bring such information back. And then we go to our drawing table and we say, what products can we design that will meet this kind of people? Most of the people you are meeting, they are saying, I'm a low-income earner. You should be able to bring that, okay, as a low-income earner. So you mean that if you pay, you can't afford to pay this now. He says, no, I can't do a deposit of 200,000. Where am I going to see it? I said, okay, what about this installment payment? Say that one in a month. There's no way I can get it. So what do you think you can do in a month? That may not help my immediate sales, but I'm gathering that information so that we can go back and design something for such people. So if I come back with such information, the organization can look at it and say, okay, if you say these people are the critical mass of your clients, then let's design something for them. Let's design something for them. Okay? You should be able to evaluate and adjust marketing against the prospect or customer's feedback. Marketing is only valuable if it is effective. If it is not effective, then it's not of any value. And how is it effective? Closing sales, bettering the bottom line of the organization. Okay? If customers are not responding to marketing messages or communications, change them.
How do you change? So if customers are not responding to market messages or communication, change them. Okay.
Who is the them there? That's what I was going to ask or say before your question was coming up.
Changing the customer.
Don't change your customer. You need them. Change your tools.
Okay.
Change your messages.
Communication.
I hope you know that today, by the time e-marketing is doing maybe a gross of $1 billion, the regular platforms might not be doing as much as half. All right. So I may want to consider digital marketing because people respond to it more. It has analytics. I can read it and say, okay, from this environment, demographics, I say 5 men, 100 men saw this advert, 50 women saw it. Of those, XYZ responded. Those are the people. I can read the response. How do you read the response of a billboard on the streets? You don't even know whether people are looking at it or they are not. All right. So if my existing marketing tool and way of communication is not communicating with them, because what I actually want to do is to communicate with them. So if I'm not communicating effectively and well enough with them, I better change. So, and the organization can only get that information when you give a feedback. Okay. So day before yesterday, I was registering for an online event, and after filling, there's a column. How did you hear about us? Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, referral, friend, blah 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 blah. Those people are trying to get information about which of our channels are the most effective. So you're going to help the budgeting advert of the organization too. It's going to look at, okay, this one, we've just been wasting money. It's not working. This is what people are looking. This is what people are checking. All right. So when those new concepts are coming up, we should also, as a marketing team, sales team, we should also test run it and see how it can give us value. Okay. Yeah, we have talked about that before. We should focus on the need of the prospect. Zero your mind about your commission at first, about your salary, about whatever is coming to you at first. Think about him and think about how to satisfy him. And you know why some of us don't get repeat sales? Because we think sales ends when he has paid. We think sales ends when he has paid. No. Customer satisfaction is the peak of sales. Do you get that?
Yeah.
So you have bought something, a piece of land, and you discover that, hey, when I got there, you said it's 60 by 120, but this is 50 by 120 or 59 by 120 because somebody on the other side has eaten into it, he has encroached. And I'm now telling you who sold to me, and you are not responsive, you are not empathetic, you are just nonchalant about it because money has entered. So you think that is the end of sales. After service of sales is critical to sales because it will determine whether you're going to have a repeat sale from that person or whether you're going to have a referral from that person. And I tell you what, it has been scientifically proven. It will take you triple of the effort you used to get an original customer to get a new one. Did you get that? You have an existing customer. The effort you will need to get a fresh one is like times 3 of what you are used to get. So there's what is called CRM, customer relationship management. You need to learn how to manage your customer. Oh, his wallet is too much. Is this? No. It needs that satisfaction. It needs to derive that satisfaction. All right? So what he has bought, let's simplify it this way. What he has bought is not that land. What he has bought and paid for is satisfaction from that land, fulfillment. So for as long as he doesn't get that satisfaction or fulfillment, to him, he might be having a buyer's remorse. Okay, so we need to be able to manage our customers. Okay, don't wait till when there is a new product. Text them once in a while, so that you keep them continuously on your warm list. Okay, just marketing. I think. I think we have seen that. Okay, let's look at the sales process. Let's look at sales as a process. You know, we said it's a process. Sales is not an activity. It's not, what word did I use earlier? It's not an action. It's not an occurrence. It is a process. Something leads to it. Okay?
Sales is a process and not activity.
Okay, it's a process and it's not an activity. Okay? So, the key communication in sales cycles, you know, you use qualifying questions and the answers you get from those qualifying questions. In questions, there are questions you call close-ended questions, and there are questions you call open-ended questions. You should learn when to use which. Okay, you have just come to somebody, you're about barely starting the conversation, and you have heard, oh, one Mr. DAPO said we should use questions, and all the questions you were using were close-ended questions. Close-ended questions are the ones that demand yes or no. So, yeah, are you no? Yes, no, yes. I mean, the communication won't flow. Okay, there are some times as you progress that you don't want him to go back to all what you have come through, that you might begin to use close-ended questions. Close-ended questions are suggestive that you want to lead somebody into a certain path. Okay, all right. So you ask questions that will make the person speak, that will make him talk, all right, so that you can thoroughly assess. So you need to check the company's product and offer if they align with the need of the prospect. I remember back then too, people usually say marketers are liars or salespeople are liars. No, it's those who want to lie. It's those, when you tell lies, you lose credibility. Even the organization you're working for or working with begins to lose credibility. So you don't put offers or things you cannot do. So in this instance, I usually suggest under-promise and over-deliver. Oh, when is my receipt coming out? Receipts. You will see it now. I mean, as I'm getting to the office, you will have it. And then 2 days, 3 days, he has not gotten the receipt. The other part, under promise. When is my receipt coming out? Oh, you know, the MD will have to sign, this will have to sign. So usually because of those documentation issues, sometimes, you know, it can take up to 48 hours, 2 days. Okay, but in those 2 days, you are sure you will have it. I'm just using it as an example. I know that may not be. So you are given 2 days, but you know in actual fact that it's 24 hours. So when I now come in 24 hours time and I say this is your result, how do you think he will feel? Something that is supposed to take 2 days, he had made it happen in 1 day. Benefit of under-promising and over-delivering. Okay, you learn to under-promise and over-deliver. Okay, so that way you'll be able to, you know, put some smiles on there. So I'm saying you are aligning what is available with what is desirable. What does the client desire? What do I have available? As the company, what does the company have available? So if there are no discounts, it will be erroneous for you to go about telling them that there is a discount. No, buy 3 get 1 free, and you are saying it, you are just shooting yourself in the leg, and you are smearing the image of the company. If there is no buyback plan, and you are saying there is a one, it's lie. It's a scam. You know, people don't, like I said earlier, nobody wants to be sold. But sometimes some of us might do, maybe not as bogus as that. We might do some things as like that because we just wanted to close sales. But it diminishes you as a professional and also detracts from the integrity of the organization you represent. So, true representation, true picture, and that was why I said we should have the right, sufficient and right information at every time. Have the right information from the organization and have it insufficiency, enough information, right? So that it's not, you are not getting to a client and the client is the one telling you what operates in your organization. That would be a shame. Okay, so you need to be able to, have enough information. That way, when you have the information, even when he's saying, but I heard that there is a 25% discount, and I say, that's very true, but it ended last month. You are telling that person that I'm on top of my game. This is the current information. You want to confirm? This is a direct line you can call the office. But I tell you, on my honor, that has stopped. Okay, so that builds layer of prospects. If he's responsive, if he's responding to your calls, it is an indication that he has some layer of interest, even though they are in stages. But if somebody is, I've seen people speak to me before and say, this. I say, okay, it's nice. Say, sir, can I have your number? And I'll say, no, I don't think it will be necessary. Because I know that in my heart of hearts, I'm not ready. I can't. But I collected your number. That's a plus. It means I have said, you're free to call me. Let's talk further about this. Okay? So you need to assess all those information. And as a salesperson, we're looking at the sales process. Excuse me. Are you constantly or consistently responding to the customer's questions or proposing the next steps for him? Okay. Sometimes too, we call it Jara around here. Everybody loves Jara.
Yes.
If you are selling like you give them Jara, they will collect. Okay, so in this instance, what are the extras that are available? Okay, what are the extras that are available? There are things that are challenging to people. They have challenges with Omonile when they want to build and all that. I don't know if it's prevalent in the East, but you have all those issues, documentation. So someone is even thinking, that thing they call survey, in the whole of, how do I ever go about it? Or C of O, how do I go about it? So this can be add-ons and say, okay, at the fee, will help you process this based on what is coming from the organization. I'm not talking about you independently deciding, but I'm trying to say that you can look at what other benefits are available to your clients. All right. Do the prospect or salesperson agree on the decision, the factors and processes, and if so, does it increase mutual trust? All right, so we should be able to get to that point where we are on the same page. Okay, I've told you what we have to offer, you love and you have accepted what we have to offer, and we are on the same page. So it breeds trust. Okay, somebody said trust is like a glassware. Once it is broken, it's difficult to mend. So you want to be careful, because what you're doing is trust issues. It's about trust. So if we breach that trust, then it might be very difficult to mend. And unfortunately, even in the media, bad news sells more than good news. So when the nation is commissioning rail line, is doing this, they are doing education fund, they are doing anchor borrowers fund, they are giving all those, it's not selling. 20 die in my Duguri. Bad news sells. Yeah, it sells more than good news. And that is why, I don't know who here took a bottle of soft drink, maybe in the last 24 hours or 48 hours. You took any? Or a bottle of water or something?
Water.
But now you didn't remember to tell anybody that you took that bottle of drink and it was nice. Now imagine if you found a cockroach in it. You will tell everybody, because it is bad news and it sells. So one compromise on trust. The same person who has not been able to give a referral so that they come and buy from you, we'll talk about that one. One bad customer is as bad as taking good 100 customers. So you need to be careful and be conscious of that. So when you see salespeople who are trying to be nice, who are trying to be polite, who are trying to have the side of their client, it's not out of stupidity. As a matter of fact, it's born out of every act of wisdom. Okay? So we need to be able to manage trust between and within us. And of course, you know that we are the bridge between them and the organization. Sometimes they cannot come to the organization, but they can come through you. Okay? They can come through you to get information. Most of us do not have access to our bank managers, but there is an account officer that we can relate with, and it becomes the bridge between us and the banking organization. So in this instance too, us as salespeople are the bridge between them and the organization. So it is not clever if referring them to the company. Say, go and meet them. That might not be too tidy. Okay? You are the link with them. Even if there are things that are not within your capacity, relate with the organization and relate with them. And if there is need for the two parties to meet, you cause them to meet. Okay? But you can't just you don't put yourself forth as someone who is disconnected. Once payment has been made, I have my own, company has its own, what's my concern? We are moving on. Okay? One of the best form of advert still remains word of mouth. One of the best form of adverts still remains word of mouth, face to face. Look around things you have. Before you bought that air, you shared with a friend or you suggested. Before you bought that watch, before you bought that phone. So what kind of phone do you use? Is there somebody is using this kind of phone? Is really the phone good? Is that word of mouth? Oh, I bought from C Plat. And how did they do you? Is it true that they do this? Is it true that word of mouth? And by the time we allow people to begin to badmouth the organization, then we are making all of us losers. So we need to be careful. Our action, we are the representative of the organization. Our actions has a way of affecting the organization, whether positively or negatively. So we need to consider our brand. I'm not here to talk about brand, but we all as individuals are brands. You are a brand. I am a brand. So I need to manage my brand. Okay? So for some people, their brand is liar. They have branded them liar. Oh, she told you she's coming tomorrow. Who told you? Forget it, she's not coming. That's the brand. The other person, oh, he says he will come next week. Was that what he said? Don't worry, he will come. That's a brand. So ask yourself, what kind of brand am I representing? What kind of brand am I projecting? Who am I? What kind of personality am I putting forward? All right? This might not solely be mine, but there's a way that what you do has a way of rubbing off on other things when you want to do. Okay? I once lived in an apartment and most people will not come out for environmental, but because that's not my brand, I will go out, I will do my cleaning. If you come out, good for you. If you don't come, I'll do my cleaning and it doesn't take anything from me. Then it came to a point when it was a low point for me. I needed an apartment, I needed to change. I never knew that people were watching. There was a certain man on that same street who says, when I got to him, I said, I learned there's an opening here. I said, yes. Meanwhile, the son of that man had told me jokingly before that, hey, my baba, nobody can live with him. And that man, you can't live with him. But the man said, when I got to him, he said, I usually see you. That's the word. So note, people are seeing, people are watching. He said, you are the only one who usually comes to do X, Y, and Z. He said, that's the reason I will take you. Okay? Agency feedback that I just crossed it out. He said, come, take it directly. So, we need to be consistent with our brand. All right, we need to be consistent with who we are and the kind of brand we are representing. I think I have talked enough and about almost everything that I have here. I don't think I've left anything out, even though, pardon the jogwood slide. This is a recap. We need to have the understanding that effective communication is the core purpose and objective of professional salespeople. As a professional salesperson, you must be an effective communicator. That communication is complex and it has many parts, okay? And it is also bi-directional. It is not a monologue all the time. It is a dialogue. That's this side to this side. Okay, and we looked at the 5 strategies that are available to enhance our sales communication, and we emphasize that listening, active listening, is a very vital and powerful skill, and you're encouraged to practice it. Okay, good enough. A good number of us have some notes and jottings. Just go through them and practice these things. There are some things I do today that are just effortless. I don't even remember I'm doing them because I've done them over and over. It's just a part of me. We are almost inseparable. Okay? So when we practice these things, it becomes a part of us because there's none of these things that we cannot learn actually. But it takes practice, it takes putting to use. What you have gotten now will remain a piece of information, but it will become a body of knowledge when you begin to use them. And that is why people will say you are smart, or they use words as you are knowledgeable, or that you have wisdom. But if you don't use them, they remain information. Everybody, there is prevalence of information everywhere. But if you don't use those information, they cannot translate to anything tangible. So active listening is powerful. Let's use it. And we should also use the sales process itself to guide us and support us in the process of communicating effectively. I strongly want to believe that the little we've been able to share should serve as a tool to better our crafts. Hopefully. Okay, but I trust that if we put them to use, it's definitely going to benefit us. For some multinationals, for some bigger corporations and all that, what we do with them most times is not more than this. And they come back at the end of the year, they look at their bottom line. Well, it might be more rigorous than this, but they look at their bottom line and they see a reflection of the training in their bottom line. So I want to see us closing more deals. All right? I want to see us closing more deals. It is a possibility and it is doable. Thank you so much.
Thank you too.
The last question.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
If somebody goes for inspection now, from the inspection, how do you tell the person that now you've inspected the check, how do you finally close the deal?
Now, thank you for bringing inspection in. Inspection is the experiencing. He has experienced it. Okay? So we are on the inspection site, and I'm telling you, even though you can't see it, that this is where the main road will be. Okay? These are the other institutions that are coming on the other side of the road. What do you think it will feel like if you are back in this place? What do you think it will be like if you have XYZ kind of structure here? Or what do you think it will be like when you fence this place and you keep it for the next XYZ number of years? He's already experiencing it. And those are the ways you can lead him to make or to take that buying decision. Okay? There is storytelling in marketing. Sales and marketing is huge, it's large. Okay? That's a whole day's training. Storytelling as a tool for marketing. So you tell a story. Tell a story. I want to listen to story. You want to listen to story. By the time some people are dozing here and say, do you know what? Let me share this story with you. We will straighten up.
Exactly.
We will straighten up. We will straighten up. Okay? So, very good pointed killing salespeople use the tool of storytelling. Tell me a story. Okay, tell him a story. Hopefully, if it is true, it makes it better. And there's always a story. Where we are using is a very virgin land. No, we don't have that much story. But somewhere close by is getting built up. We can make reference to that and use this as a story to link this. That do you know that site 200 kilometers away or XYZ or da. The first time they bought it 5 years ago, it was 1 million. 5 years after, people are cashing out. It's now 3.5 million. It's now 7 million. It's now whatever it is. That is a story. Okay, that is a story. There was a man. He was still working then, and then he bought this. He didn't know what will happen. By the time he left his job and he was coming out, this was a fallback. That was the same property he sold. And he used to go and start a business. Tell a story. Use the instrumentality to close deals, to close sales, to bring people to make that buying decision. Those are part of the things we could do. Once it's already there for inspection, that's a big feat. It's a big feat. Some people are in their room. Some people are saying, I don't have time. I'm not ready. But somebody has come to inspect. You need to pay close attention to that person. You need to click on it and then be able to identify objections and how to undo each of the objections. There will be objection about location. There will be objection about price. There will be objection about payment plan. There will be objection about discount. There will be different kinds of objections. You should be able to handle those objections. How? Correct and sufficient information. Having correct and sufficient information. With your empowerment with those information, you can always undo objections and not talking too much. Because when we have said everything, when the objection starts coming, you have used all your cards. You remember who wants to be a millionaire? You are in question 3, you have used all your options. So when the question now progresses, no more card, no more lifeline. That's the word. No more lifeline in your arsenal. You are home and dry.
I want to ask, what if after telling all the reasons and the person says, I will call you?
If the person says he will call you, especially someone who has come this far, he has come to inspect, there is an interest. There is an interest. But there could be other factors, surrounding factors that is still limiting him. So, questioning will help. Sometimes, okay, do you know that most times as a buyer, we are almost confused? Have you gone to a shop before you want to buy a gown? Yes. You want to buy something? So what you are expecting at that time is a need. Say, I see, what kind of thing do you want? Is that not the question? Yes. Oh, it's not, but you have not asked that question. You just bought a gown. She's not looking for a gown. What occasion are you going for? Oh, it's the end of year party or my husband's workplace or my wife's workplace. Okay, so it means you need a dinner suit or you need a dinner gown. Exactly. What are your favorite colors? What colors do you like? I'm leading you on. You say blue. Oh, there is a fantastic blue that I have. Though it is maroon blue, you will love it or not. And I bring that blue and say, no, I don't like this. But at least you have established that he wants a gown. Then you go look for another blue and you have already established that he has blue. Though there is the harder part where you begin to bring red. Yes, there's a harder part where you begin to bring red and you may still succeed at selling it. But you are asking the right question to be able to guide him or her to make a decision. But what most of us do as salespeople is to confuse the clients the more, rather than bringing clarity and helping him or her to make a decision. We confuse them the more, and he can't even make a choice. He can't take a step. Because rather than leading the person on, we are confused. There is what is called upselling. Okay? It is possible for someone to be unwilling to buy a property of 2 million and is ready to buy for 10 million. It is possible. If I do proper analysis of the prospect, what he's saying is not that I don't have money. What he's saying is that I deserve more than this. But he's not going to say it, that I deserve more than this. So you brought me here. Is this all that you have?
Yes, that's what
Said you get it. So that is the time is cheap. We don't think it is cheap. You just believe. You can argue till tomorrow and say it only looks like it. It only looks like the one from above. That's not it. It can't be done because of his personality. So sometimes we attach both. So in such instances, you're trying to take that person, you're trying to, I talked about upselling. Upselling means I'm taking you from where I was attempting to sell to you before to another level. Okay, so you have come into that store. You are prepared to buy a dinner gown, 30,000 naira. You have your money. You don't have any issues. That's the budget. Agreed. And you got there. By the time you are going out, you have bought 3 dinner gowns, 90,000 naira. And you get home and say, okay, so what actually happened? Because you were upsold. The person promoted you. It's like getting to the plane, instances on the jet, and you say, okay, because you're a regular flyer or whatever, they just by chance, they just say, sir, could you just follow me? And they elevate you to business class. All right. So it's more like that. And you say, okay, we have agreed. Now I know that she can afford 30,000. So I'm pushing my luck. I said, okay, since you don't like this one, there's this other one. It happens to us. Yeah. There's this other one, but you add a little. This one is 35. But he has these other features, he has this and this, and you are beginning to feel cool. Okay, additional 5,000, not too much of an issue, or additional 10,000. I think I like it and all that, and you go for it. Okay, and there's also, sorry, I talk too much, have you? And it is also possible for you to, to cross sell. Okay, you can cross sell. That was not what I was told to come and talk about anyway. Yes, ma'am.
What's been of cross-sell?
What is it? Cross-sell or cross-sell?
Cross. You can sell across. Yeah, you can sell across borders. What we need is practical, not theory.
Okay.
You don't really need to gag yourself up with all the theoretical jargons, and they cannot translate to actual results. All right. So there are some instances we want to go that depth, we want to go this and do this and do this, but we need results. We need results, things that are practicable. Yeah, practical. All right.
Sorry to interrupt you.
You are not interrupting, ma. That's why we are here.
I came when I didn't come in, but I had something. And my question is for some lands, I don't know, but this is my first time. For some lands that are, I don't know whether you only sell lands outside Lagos. Some lands, when you take a client there, they want to know if it's a government acquisition land. Some of them, they might have an idea, more information order. Some of them might go with their Google map to check. I don't know whether they, because particularly in Lagos, some people, they believe they're going to buy any land. Things like evidently and so. If
if they really know more about this land, and you that is taking them there, you don't really know, they might go to Alausa and make their inquiry. Some of them have some people in Alausa to know the kind of lands they want to buy. What's the question? So I want to know those lands that are outside Lagos that you market. I want to know whether if it's free from
Government acquisition.
and then there's what we talk about CO4 that's after 99 years. I don't know.
9 years.
99 years.
Yes.
99 years. After 99 years, what happens? Some people want to be sure if the land they are buying, if it's safe for them to.
Okay.
It's a genuine land, right?
All right. Yeah, I get your question. But the straight and direct answer to that is that even though I'm here to speak on behalf of Seplats, I'm not a part of the management of Seplats. I'm a consultant. So those information can best be gotten from Seplats, okay, the CEO. But it is not tidy if a prospect knows more about what you are selling than you. It is not tidy. For coming here now, I tell you what I have done here, my delivery and everything, if I was doing a big goal, is the same. If I was talking to executives, I would deliver the same. As a matter of fact, I slept 4 a.m. this morning because I'm preparing for this. Because I want to know at least a little more than people I want to speak with. So if you want to go, you're going to market a client, you should know at least a little more than he or she knows about your product. Okay? It's me coming to your shop, I want to buy this bag, and you don't even know of this phone, you don't even know what it does, you don't know half of what it does. You know, it psychologically puts you at a disadvantage.
Yes.
It psychologically puts you at a disadvantage. You are psychologically beaten to an extent. And sales and marketing is a mind game. Okay? So we said earlier that you need to have correct and sufficient information. Those two words. It has to be correct and it has to be sufficient. All right? However, if we get to that point when we find ourselves in such a fix and we don't have the right information, don't be like Oga at the top. You remember that scenario?
Yes.
I do tell people that till today, if I was that man and you ask me that question, you can almost say it is silly for somebody of that caliber not to know that address. But I will simply own up. I say, gentlemen, you know what? It's embarrassing, but the truth is, I don't really know this. There will be no guy at the top. Nobody will make t-shirts. Nobody will do it will just die. The worst you will say is that Haba is supposed to know. He ought to know. But it will end there. So why am I saying this? Rather than trying to confuse them, rather than trying to model up the information, you are giving your own information and tomorrow the organization says it's not like that. Just tell the person, can you just give me 24 hours? I will get back to you on all of these things. You earn more respect and you earn more credibility to your person as a salesperson and even to the organization. And make sure that 24 hours, you can even exceed it. I mean, in 6 hours, remember, I said we should overpromise and under-deliver. So you are told in 24 hours, I'll get back to you. But in 2 hours, after getting to the office, you are calling him or her and say the information, and you are giving the full information. Okay? I think that will help us in such instance.
We have had quite a bit on you, and some of us will be going out to probably practicalize some of the things we have heard from you now.
Okay, sir.
The challenge out there is that we might not be able to, because we seem to think that we have really understood what we are telling us now. It is when we are trying to practicalize them that we will discover that some of the things we have really not. So at that time, we don't know when you'll be coming here again, come and talk for us. So how do we now get to you? You know, you said, sir, these things you taught also, this we have understood this bit, this one we have not.
My organs are here. If you have them, you have me.
The number, that's what we want.
My number.
So,
Let's get it from Oga Dixon.
when it comes to class,
Yeah. Relate with C plat, please. But I'm always available, but I won't want to give you for obvious reasons. Okay. Relate with C plat. If C plat deems it fit, good. And if not,
What's the name, sir?
my name is DAPO. DAPO Omojola.
Thank you very much.
You're most welcome.
Most rewarding.
We look forward to seeing us all at the top. It is doable. Yeah. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you, sir.